Hello, my dear friends. Today I'm talking about the transits of Mercury in Cancer, because here will retrograde. The transit is between 1st of June and 9th of August 2026. And in Hellenistic astrology, when a planet ingress in a sign where will retrograde, all the period of the transits, it's about retrograde cycle. And retrograde cycle have the following steps. The ingress of the planet in the sign, the retrograde station, the direct station, and then the direct motion. And the moment when the planet is go out from that sign and ingress in the next sign. So, which is the general impact of this transit? This retrograde of the Mercury in Cancer, it remembers us that it's about something deeper. It's no longer about practical things, logistics, but about our souls. Mercury doesn't feel entirely at ease in Cancer. It's the planet of rational thought, data, and quick information exchange. Cancer, on the other hand, is a realm of feelings, memory, and unspoken things that settle deep within. And when Mercury moves through Cancer, thoughts become emotion, words gain emotional weight, and the chart of the Mercury ingress into Cancer is highly charged. Mercury is joining Venus and Jupiter in Cancer, and the moment this happened is the local time of Romania, Bucharest. So this is happened in 10th house. So we have stellium in Cancer zodiac sign, that is about amplifying emotions in the public sphere, professional relationships with a personal tone, and the desire to build something meaningful, not just profitable. The midheaven is also there, meaning this entire planetary cluster directly touches career, reputation, and life direction. The moon, that is ruler of Cancer, is in Sagittarius in the 3rd house. And this creates a fascinating tension. On the one hand, feelings seek expression. On the other hand, the moon in Sagittarius wants freedom. It wants to fly, not sink into family history. And which is the result? A period when we feel a strong need to talk about what hurts, yet we don't always find the right form of courage to do so. Tensions with Neptune and Saturn in Aries, that is applying a square, add another layer. Saturn demands structure, clarity, and responsibility. Precisely the things Mercury retrograde in Cancer makes harder to access. Neptune dissolves boundaries, escaping the definite and the concrete. In practice, this configuration may generate confusion in communication, delays driven by emotional reasons, and a tendency to avoid clear conversations out of fear of hurting others or being misunderstood. Be mindful of ambiguous communication, unclear contracts, and promises made from emotion without solid grounding. On the other hand, the trine to the North Node in Pisces offers a genuine opening. This is the configuration that suggests this entire process. Revisiting the past, reviewing communication patterns, understanding how emotional filter reality can lead us, if approached consciously, exactly toward the direction of soul growth, and we are meant to follow in this lifetime. Mercury retrograde in Cancer will especially activate several areas of life, especially on the periods when the planet is retrograde. If you feel like you no longer know what you think or feel, as if mind and heart are pulling in opposite directions, or you are tired without knowing why, you are likely experiencing the station effect. It's not an emergency, it's an invitation to do less and observe more. A common mistake when approaching retrogrades is treating them as a total prohibition period. It's like a forbidden zone. But Mercury retrograde in Cancer doesn't mean you can't speak, write, or make decisions. It means that anything involving communication, contracts, or important choices requires more attention than usual. More patience with yourself and others, and more verification of emotional assumption. The signature of this period, it's not a blockage, but a return. Ideas that come back, people who reappear, projects that need a second look. Perhaps the most important thing to remember is that Mercury retrograde in Cancer asks you to learn the difference between what you feel now and what you felt then. During this time, the present tends to be colored by layers of emotional past. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes this depth and connection to roots is exactly what was missing. But it's important to recognize it so you don't mistake an echo for a voice. If you want to use this period, keep a journal, not to record daily events, but to observe through patterns. Write what you feel and think before an important conversation, then revisit it afterwards. You might be surprised how much becomes clear simply by putting it into words, and how much perspective can shift over just a few days, especially during this time. Mercury retrograde in Cancer is not a storm to avoid. It's a quiet bay with deep waters, where everything reflected on the surface deserves careful attention. Let's see how this transit of retrograde of Mercury in Cancer is working for each rising sign. For Aries rising sign, this Mercury is transiting your 4th house. So for you, Mercury retrograde in Cancer directly impacts your roots, family, home, and the past. And it doesn't do it quietly. With Venus and Jupiter already there, the Cancer stellium turns your private space into a stage with more actors than usual. Old conversations about family, home, and who you are beyond career and public image resurface. You may encounter issues with the property you intended to buy or sell. A parent or relative might reappear with unexpected news or request, or you may feel a sudden intense urge to return somewhere, physically or emotionally, from where you once left. This isn't empty nostalgia. It's an invitation to understand what you carried with you and what you left behind. The square with Saturn and Neptune in Aries, your 1st house, creates friction. You feel pulled backward just when you want to move forward. Frustrating for Aries, who thrives on action, but perhaps this isn't stagnation, it's only consolidation. Sometimes to build something, it's lasting. You must first check the foundation. So, delay signing real estate contracts if possible. If not, double check every clause. And if you don't understand something, find an expert to help you. Choose timing carefully for difficult family conversation. Avoid station periods 28 and 30 June and 23 and 25 July. Clean your living space, your physical environment, strongly affects your emotional state. For a Taurus rising sign, this Mercury retrograde in Cancer will pass over your third house. And it's about communication, siblings, neighborhood, short trips, and how you process and express thoughts. Mercury retrograde here in Cancer means your mind works through memories, old feelings, and voices from the past. A sibling may reappear with unresolved issues. A writing or communication project you postponed may demand attention again. Conversations will carry more emotional tone than usual. Not a problem if you are aware of it. As a Taurus, you prefer practical, grounded communication. This transit may frustrate you because others speak from emotion rather than logic, and you may find yourself doing the same. The trine to the North Node in Pisces suggests that adding emotional depth to your communication can actually move you forward. Not everything effective has to be cold. So, you need to read important messages before sending, because the tone can be misinterpreted now. Address unresolved conflicts with siblings or neighbors patiently, not urgently. Avoid final decisions about courses, contracts, or publications during station days. Take a short trip to a familiar, meaningful place. It aligns perfectly with this energy. For Gemini rising, the transit of Mercury in Cancer is passing over your second house. And it's about money, personal resources, values, and self-worth. And it's not just about delayed bills. In Hellenistic astrology, this house also reflects what you truly consider yours, including the values guiding your choices. Mercury retrograde here suggests revisiting your relationship with money and security thoughts and emotional lens. You may realize that past financial decisions were emotionally driven in ways you didn't recognize this at that time, or that your values have shifted. With Venus and Jupiter here, there is potential for financial opportunities, but only if approached with awareness, not impulse. As a Gemini ruled by Mercury, you will feel this retrograde more strongly. Your usually quick mind may seem to run old programs. Don't resist, observe, and take notes. So you can review your expenses from the past 6 months and to see patterns that appear and to learn something from it. Avoid major investments or purchases between June 30 and July 25. If necessary, seek trusted advice. Write down what you truly value, beyond what you think you should value. Address all debts or unclear financial situations with close people, gently but firmly. For those with Cancer rising, this transit is passing over your first house. It's about your body, identity, and how you present yourself. And it doesn't come alone. There are also Venus, Jupiter, at the midheaven. And this is intense. On one hand, you are in the spotlight. On the other, you may feel unsure about who you are or how you want to show up. Old versions of yourself may resurface. Behaviors, thoughts, reactions you believed you had outgrown. This isn't regression, it's a revision. Mercury retrograde is a deep introspective opportunity. What story are you telling yourself about who you are? Conflicts between self-perception and others' perceptions may surface, not to hurt you, but to be perceived. The square with Saturn and Neptune reminds you that identity isn't built on fluctuating emotions, but on something more stable. So, Try to avoid major image or career direction changes during the retrograde. Wait until after July 25. If overwhelmed, write. Don't analyze, just express. Revisiting something from your past that once defined you. It may still hold truth. Be mindful of promises. Venus and Jupiter may inflate enthusiasm beyond the reality. Anyway, you can be in a very creative mood. So if you want to create or to express your creativity, this is a good time. Leo rising. This Mercury retrograde in Cancer is transiting your 12th house. And it's about retreats, hidden matters, invisible processes beneath the surface. Mercury retrograde here means the activity is internal rather than external. You may experience vivid dreams, emotional flashbacks, or a vague sense that something from the past needs attention, without knowing exactly what. Secrets or hidden information may surface. Either you discover something or you unexpectedly open up. With Venus and Jupiter also here, this inner retreat carries beauty too. Quiet grace, spiritual connection, deep emotional healing. If you allow yourself stillness, for Leo, that may be the greatest challenge. So, plan intentional solitude, not as a punishment, but for emotional hygiene. It's a kind of emotional detoxification. Avoid major decisions based on unclear feelings. Let them settle first. Practice meditation, dream journaling, or introspection. This will help you to understand better your feelings. Be careful with secrets or sensitive information. This house governs what is revealed at the wrong time. For those with Virgo rising sign, the transit of Mercury retrograde in Cancer is transiting over your 11th house. And here it's about friendship, groups, future goals, social networks, and the communities you belong to. Mercury retrograde in Cancer activates all of these thoughts and emotional filter. Tensions may arise within friend groups, misunderstandings in online or offline communities, or the realization that certain friendships are not what you thought they were. As a Virgo rising, you have a special connection to Mercury, because Mercury here, it is in exaltation. You'll feel this retrograde strongly, but you also have the best mental tools to navigate your analytical ability and discernment. The challenge is not to apply them in a cold or critical way toward friends or colleagues, but with empathy, exactly that Mercury in Cancer asks for you. The South Node in Virgo, ruled by Mercury, suggests that part of this period involves letting go of perfectionism and control in group dynamics, while the North Node in Pisces points you toward compassion and authentic connection. So, if conflicts arise, resist over-analyzing. Sometimes emotions need to be heard, not corrected. Reevaluate your long-term goals. Something may have shifted without you knowledge it in time. Avoid sending important group messages during station periods. Wait for emotional clarity. Reconnect with an old friend you've neglected. It fits this retrograde perfectly. For those with the Libra rising, this transit of Mercury retrograde in Cancer is over your 10th house. So this transit is touching your life direction and public image. The 10th house governs career, reputation, authority, and public purpose. And Mercury retrograde here, alongside with Venus and Jupiter, also in Cancer, can bring significant professional returns. An old project revived, an opportunity with a former client or employer, or less pleasantly, a professional situation that needs clarification. With Saturn forming an applying square, don't rely on relationships or goodwill without confirming there is a solid foundation. Professional communication carries emotional intensity now. Conversation with superiors or clients may feel unusually charged. Don't avoid it. Use it as insight into what truly matters in your professional relationships. So, delay contract negotiations or salary discussions until after 9 of August, if possible. Address unclear professional situations diplomatically. Avoiding them will only amplify them. Revisit an old project. Others may now see value in it. Be mindful of your public communication. Tone may be interpreted differently than intended. For those with Scorpio rising, Mercury retrograde in Cancer is transiting your 9th house. And here it's about beliefs, philosophy, long-distance travel, higher education, publishing, trade, international trade, and foreign connections. Mercury retrograde here brings a deep emotional reassessment of what you believe, not intellectually, but intuitively. As a Scorpio rising, you are comfortable with depth, but now that depth applies to your worldview, not just intimate relationships. Travel plans may be delayed or complicated. Studies may require revision, and international connections may become more nuanced. With Venus and Jupiter here also, real opportunities are in place. It's about travel, publishing, or international collaboration. Mercury retrograde simply asks you to check details carefully, not abandon the opportunity. So, double-check travel bookings and documents. Re-examine a core belief. It is truly yours or it's inherited without question. Avoid final decisions about higher education or international work until after 25 July. Resume work on a delayed publishing or editorial project. Revise it. Don't launch yet. For those with Sagittarius rising, Mercury retrograde in Cancer is transiting your 8th house. This 8th house is about shared resources, depths, inheritance, deep transformation, psychological intimacy, and hidden forces. It's about fear, control, fear of losing. Mercury retrograde here may bring unresolved shared financial matters to the surface. It's about loans, joint accounts, inheritances. If something is unclear, it will emerge now. On a deeper level, you may feel the urge to understand power dynamics in relationships or process an emotional transformation you've postponed. With Venus and Jupiter here, positive outcomes are possible. Financial gains, resolutions, or beneficial clarification. Still, Mercury retrograde asks for patience before signing or agreeing. So, review all matters involving shared finances, insurance, relationship with tax company or with banks. Or if it's about joint assets. Avoid major financial commitments with others during this retrograde. You need maybe to negotiate more. Have deep conversations about relationship dynamics, patiently without blame. Therapy or mentorship can be especially valuable now. When it's about Capricorn rising sign, it's activating your 7th house. That it's about one-on-one relationships, contracts, opponents, partnerships. And Mercury retrograde in Cancer here means your key relationships become the stage of this retrograde. With Venus and Jupiter here, these are not casual connections. They truly matter for you. People from the past may reappear, former partners, old collaborations, unresolved conflicts. This doesn't always mean reconciliation. Sometimes it means closure or understanding is still needed. As a Capricorn, you tend to approach relationships pragmatically. This retrograde asks you to engage emotionally as well. The square with Saturn, your ruler, may create tension between the need for clarity and the emotional confusion. Don't force clarity prematurely. Allow it to emerge. So avoid signing major partnership contracts between June 30 and July 25. Listen fully before responding to a partner's concerns. If someone from the past returns, don't rush decisions. Understand the context first. Clarify expectations in current relationships before the retrograde begins. For Aquarius rising sign, this transit is transiting the 6th house that governs health, daily routines, work, and relationships with colleagues or employees. Mercury retrograde in Cancer here may feel practically disruptive. Delayed bureaucracy, inefficient systems, sensitive co-workers, and disrupted routines. There is also a deeper layer. In Hellenistic astrology, the 6th house relates to the body and how you take care of it. Mercury retrograde may bring forward health issues you've ignored, especially those with emotional roots. Stress and unprocessed tension often manifest physically. With Venus and Jupiter here, improvements in work conditions or opportunities are possible, but they require review and attention to details. So, practical routine medical checkups. This is about prevention, not emergency. Review daily routines. Adjust, don't overhaul. Be patient with coworkers. Sensitivity runs both ways now. Delay signing employment contracts until after 25 of July, if possible. For Pisces rising, this transit is coming over your 5th house. And this is about creativity, children, romance, pleasure, and self-expression. Mercury retrograde in Cancer here makes this area more emotional and introspective. Issues involving children may surface. Conversations, decisions, or dynamics needing clarity. In romance, a former lover may return or current feelings may be reassessed. Creative projects left unfinished now demand your attention. As a Pisces rising, your intuitive nature aligns well with the retrograde energy. The risk is getting lost in emotion or fantasy without grounding anything tangible. The square with Saturn in Aries reminds you that even beauty and love need structure. So, resume a previously abandoned creative project. You don't need to start a new one. Look back and see what you find valuable. If you are a parent, be present in conversations with your children. Make a plan of having fun together. Don't idealize romantic returns without a rational evaluation. Make time for genuine joy and play, spontaneous, not planning too much. So, for all of you, look in your natal chart, see where do you have Cancer in your natal chart. What other planets do you have there? Also, if you are Gemini or Virgo, because you are ruled by Mercury, you need to pay attention to this retrograde period and see how this is connected with your planets on the chart. I'm waiting your questions and comments down below. Until next time, I wish you all the best. Bye bye.